Hey guys, it's Sherlock here. Thank you very much for tuning in again. Today we are looking at the BIS items that you can farm in Season 3. So with a full gear reset, a lot of people are worried and concerned about the cost and grind involved with gearing themselves up when it comes to Season 3. Now with the gear score increasing to 700, that's obviously going to bring in a new grind into the game. We've been looking through the PTI annual database, looking for the best ways for you guys to get geared up in Season 3. So number one, we're going to have elite chest runs, and now with the introduction of mounts, I think this is going to reduce the time greatly between doing chest runs. So within an hour a day, you should be able to open up a reasonable amount of chests to get yourself geared up in Season 3. The next step is going to be doing the sandworm. So the important part with this is getting your dark matter. So your weekly sandworm is going to give you 320 dark matter, with your daily sandworm caches giving you 80 dark matter. This is important when it comes to choosing the perks on your gear, as we're going to be using a lot of dark matter initially in the early stages to be choosing that last perk. So the next option is going to be running mutated dungeons. Now don't worry on gear score, because they have said that the same gear will be dropping at M1 compared to M3. The only difference is the volume of gear you'll receive. Now if you're unlucky and you aren't getting the drops that you want, don't worry, because the dense materia that you're getting within the dungeons is going to allow you to craft the items that you need. I'm going to go through this one by one very quickly, but we do have some various meta weapons that are going to be worth farming, along with some armor pieces that will be BIS in a lot of builds without having to spend any money on crafting. Alright guys, so here we have Willpower, a named hammer that drops within Tempest Heart. This can either drop from various enemies or it can be crafted with Tempest materia. This weapon drops with Thwarting Strikes and Refreshing Move, and for your third perk, which you can craft with a weapon matrix and 100 dark matter, you're going to want to choose Sundering Clear Out. Now that this has a 25% rend on it, you're going to be looking at having this on all of your hammers. Alright guys, so next up we have the Corrupt Progenitor's Lifestaff. I probably butchered that, but hey, it is what it is. This one here is a named Lifestaff that drops within Shattered Mountain. So this is a full focus Lifestaff, which drops with Refreshing Move and Blessed. This here allows you to choose your last perk depending on your playstyle. There's a lot of different discussions around what is best on a Lifestaff between Fortifying Sacred Ground, Keen Beacon, etc. This Lifestaff here will allow you to change that perk as the meta shifts. As the hammer we just spoke about and all other weapons, we will be able to choose that last perk with 100 dark matter, 1 gypsum orb and 1 weapon matrix. Alright, next up we have the greatsword. Everyone's been talking about Serenity. This one here is going to be the best greatsword for any circumstance. PvP, PvE, this is going to be the greatsword you want. Unfortunately, it is gated behind the level 20 PvP track. The best way to go about this is probably going to be doing your faction missions, because that's going to allow you to get your chromatic seals and other crafting pieces from the faction vendor anyway. Alright, so the best bow I could find was Hunter's Claw. I can't find anywhere where this actually drops within the game, so I don't know if it's actually going to be an item. But if it is, I feel like this is going to be the bow to get. This is the Taiyi Void Gauntlet, so this also comes from those name mobs within Ebon Scale and Dynasty's Reach. It does come with Refreshing Move and Enchanted, which are decent Void Gauntlet attributes. And you'll probably want to be looking at taking something like Keen as your last perk. As with the Void Gauntlet, a lot of your cooldowns come from crits. Alright, so Finisher. This one here is the Rapier artifact. This is one of the best rapiers you're going to get into the game. There is one other option which we'll go through next, but this one here gives you an extra 15% damage towards targets that are bleeding, which you're basically always going to have with a rapier in your way, whether you're running Evade or Flourish and Finish. So for your last perk on this one, you're going to want to be choosing Thwarting Strikes, as your Flurry and your Flourish and Finish both have grit. Alright, so farming the Finisher, you're going to want to be killing Montrepallet the Unruled. He's going to be found in the new area, the Elysian Wilds, in this little island you can see down on the right here. Unfortunately, past that, I don't have any more information for you at this stage, but I think this is going to be one people are going to be farming very early on. Right, so next up we have the Lifering Rapier. This one here comes from Elite Chest Runs. This one here is also going to be a very good rapier to use, especially if you want to use an artifact on your offhand. Just looking through these Lifering weapons, I've also found the Lifering Hammer, which has very similar perks, and you'll be able to choose the third perk on that one to be Sundering Clear Out as well. So on the Lifering Rapier, I think the third perk you're going to be wanting is probably Omnidirectional Evade or maybe Keen. I'm not 100% on that one. Roger is probably the best person to ask for that. Next up we have Commanding Strike. This one here is a great axe that drops with an Imperium Forge from Sir Elder. So for your third perk here, you're going to want Enfeebling Maelstrom. Thwarting Strikes pairs really well with that because Maelstrom has grit when it's used. And then Keenly Jagged is just going to be a nice little addition to that with an extra bleed, especially on single target mobs. Next up we're going to go through the two spears. We have the Lifering Spear, which is vicious, Keenly Jagged. this is a very nice spear. You can pair this with the likes of Bleeding Sweep or Enfeebling Skewer, and that's actually going to be a very core spear to use in almost every dungeon. This spear here also comes from the elite chest runs. I think by doing these chest runs in bits and pieces, we're going to end up with a lot of BIS items that we can use between a lot of different builds. So I think it's going to be very important, at least for the first few weeks, to be doing these elite chest runs almost daily. So the second option for your spear is going to be the Keratin Spear. This one here has Robe and Arboreal Attunement. This paired with the likes of Enfeebling Skewer, Bleeding Sweep, or even something like Keen is going to be a very strong single target DPS weapon. Alright, so when it comes to Hatchet, it's really hard to know at the moment what's actually going to be good on the Hatchet, if it's actually going to be viable, if it's going to be new in the meta. I have a sneaky feeling that heavy attack Hatchet could become a thing, but I'm unsure about that yet. Once again, from those elite chest runs, you'll be finding this one here. With Rogue and Keenly Powered, this is going to be a very powerful Hatchet. I'm unsure when it comes to a third perk on this. You could look at Keen or Refreshing Torrent, or even trying to work around Keen Berserk and have a build that tries to keep you under that 50% HP mark to keep you in that extra crit range and the extra damage range. So now we're in the armor section and we're discussing BIS here. So what is in talks about being BIS was originally that medium chest piece with the extra refreshing. That is definitely going to be the best option for healers and rapier users, but it is locked behind that 100 PvP track. So the thing that we've been discussing is whether the Featherweight Jacket is actually going to be BIS. The fact that it is weightless but also gives you that armor protection will allow you to have 2 heavy pieces and 2 light pieces. This here means that you'll end up with a higher elemental and physical protection. We have tested this to reduce around 3 to 4% extra damage, so it's effectively like having an extra ward. So even though you're only going to have an extra 190 or so extra armor, this is actually 27% more than a standard light setup, which is going to give you so much more value out of any fortify that you get. This paired with the fact that it will be easily farmable from Mur, which will be in the new Elysian Wild section, it's going to be a lot more viable than running the Nimble Coat that is locked behind the level 100 PvP track. Okay, so next up to pair with the Featherweight Jacket, we have the Azoth Crystal Gear. This here actually comes in light, medium and heavy and all has Magnify, so it can be used in any build. So this here is crafted with 3000 dense materia, or it can actually drop from any of the mutated dungeons. The fact that this is Enchanted Ward and Refreshing, you're going to want that third perk as health, and this is going to be the absolute BIS you can get. The only limitation with this is going to be having too much Magnify in your gear, which is going to make it difficult to set the right attribute points, and if you are running too much Refreshing. So to offset the issue of having too many Refreshing, there are some other options. There is the heavy Woodgrain set. This drops from various name mobs within Eden Grove. This one here drops with Elemental Evasion and health. So depending on your build, you may want Elemental Evasion or you may want Enchanted Ward. This one here actually allows you to choose a weapon perk for your third perk instead of being locked into that Refreshing. When it comes to your armor, we are going to want 5 pieces of health, 5 types of some sort of protection, whether it be Enchanted, Grit, Ward, or Elemental Evasion. And then we do want 4 refreshing, and then we want to fill in our weapon perks from there. If you do need multiple weapon perks, look at getting your refreshing onto your jewelry, which will then open up more options on your armor. Okay, so as another flexible option, we have the light Empress pieces. These ones are Magnify as well, so do keep an eye on how much Magnify you are putting into your gear, as it will make it very difficult to hit your attribute splits. Here though, we have health and refreshing, and then you can choose your third perk. So you're going to want to be looking at either Enchanted Ward, Elemental Evasion, or Grit Ward, depending on what your build requires. So these pieces only drop from the last boss in Dynasty Shipyard, but you can craft them with 3000 dense materia. Okay, so moving on to the jewelry now, there aren't too many options. We did find a couple. First up, there is quite a nice strike protection health amulet. This one here drops from elite chest runs, so hopefully we start getting some of these BIS items as we're doing our daily chest runs anyway. Right, so some more BIS from these chest runs that we keep talking about is the Lifering Amulet. So this one here is Health and Divine. You're going to be able to choose that third perk, obviously. If we look down at the perk list here on your database, you'll see that we'll be able to get all of our elemental and physical protections as that third perk. So if we can farm 8 or 9 of them, we will be able to craft every single amulet we need. So we have the Azoth Crystal Ring. This one here is part of the Azoth Crystal set we talked about earlier within the armor. This one can drop from any of the mutations, but it can also be crafted with the dense materia. This one here is a really decent ring option without having to craft anything. The only thing I am getting wary about with these builds is how much Magnify we have. So early days, this could be a very good option, but from there we're probably going to want to look at crafting some specific ones. Here we have Red Hot Slag. This one's going to be a very decent ring when it comes to Rapier or Greatsword with the extended blades, or possibly even the new artifact sword. This one here is dropped in Imperium Forge from Commander Marius, or once again can be crafted with materia. Right, so we have the Soul Shroud ring. This one is the same as the Azoth crystal, but this one comes from Elite Chest run, so it's also very farmable. Here we have a nice ring that drops from the Reed and Barnacles and Black Powder. This one could possibly be a decent option for the likes of Hatchet, possibly Greatsword. They are very close in power cap anyway, so don't necessarily need the slash damage, but hey, it's another free ring. So we're very limited on earrings. We have been looking through the different named items, and overall the perks on them are very average. This one here is the only one we found that's going to be semi-decent. Now that we don't need ward potions on our hot bars necessarily, this one here with Healthy Toast and Refreshing Toast could be quite a good option. For the last perk, you could choose Purifying Toast or Refreshing if you want to get some of that refreshing off of your armor. That way slotting a mana potion onto our hot bar will just give us that extra little bit of healing. Lifeloop is dropped from General Keratin in a need, and as always with all these named items, you'll be able to craft them with the need materia. Okay, if you're still here, as you can see, Elite Chest runs are going to be a huge part of getting BIS'd out very quickly in Season 3. But even if you get half of these items, it's going to be a huge lifesaver not having to craft every single piece of gear to get to that 700 mark. I think we will be getting a lot of gear within the dungeons themselves, especially since the fact that M1 is supposed to drop the same value items as M3, just not as many of them. I really do hope this helps you guys get geared up quickly within Season 3, but also enjoy the journey. Don't forget to enjoy the quests. You're only going to do them once. Take in the scenery and just have a good time. As always, thank you very much for the support. The channel has been blowing up. Please come and visit us on Twitch. We have a great time over there. Drop us a sub. Drop us a comment down below. I do answer every single comment, whether it be positive, negative, or someone just saying hello. I do respond to every comment. See you on the next one.